Hello, I am on my final battle report for BYG. By now in the tournament, I had won one game and lost one game. I might be able to claw my way back up into top 10 if I win the final game. And so that is what I'm aiming for. And we get the draw, and my opponent is Stefan, who had just placed third in Germany the day before, where he had beat both Achilles, the Spanish champion, and Manuel, the German champion, who's not the German champion anymore, but still, and he's the reigning world champion. So he was doing well for himself that weekend. So I knew that was going to be a hard fight. I had also reviewed his list, which was a tank-heavy platoon, which is one of the things that, tank platoons, especially when they have a lot of arty, which he did. So I knew my list was ill-suited to fight his list. Well, I thought I am still a good player. Of course, I can do this. Unfortunately, when we get our table, it is one of the open tables again. That is the fourth time I have met a top player using a lot of artillery on open tables in 2 tournaments over this fall. And I am sick and tired of it, because it means that fight is so difficult. I'll talk you through the table and the decisions. One more thing. What happened is we also get the scenario, which is hold until relieved, a scenario that is famous for most always being a draw. Oh, shit, I thought I am out of this tournament. And it turns out I was. I get a draw, although by the BYG secondary points I actually lose, so which was not clear, which I again am a bit sore about, but doesn't matter. The game itself was a draw, so that was fine. Really expected, and considering dice luck and table and all of that, I thought I did really, really well. I thought that Stefan should have won that game, basically, because he was rolling well. He had the right list for the right table, and he was a really good player. So, the table itself, it looked like this, more or less. We get to roll off about who gets to be attacker or defender in that scenario, and I chose to be the defender. I do that because I want to have first wave, so all of my stuff is on the table early in the game, and I'm not, again, stuck with reserves that don't come in. And I also noticed that Stefan had at least 2 artillery pieces in his list, which I did not want to start on the table. I did not want them in. I wanted him to move them in later from turn 2, so he had fewer rounds in which to fire them. That turned out to be a good decision, although his mortars, which got to start on the table, actually still killed me. Go figure. Right. We had some forests scattered around the table. It was a winter table. It was Benny's winter table, and that is very sparse. It's really, really open. So we had those forests, a very small one here. We had a hardcover field stone, like field walls here. We had the objective in the center. We had a few hardcover area terrain where there were rocks, and then we had a church over here, and that was it. That was all the terrain, more or less. I chose to start here because I thought that I could make sure that there was a lot of things sort of blocking his line into that center objective. I knew that if Stefan started down here, he would have straight line up, and I could use these walls as hard cover for my troops. So I wanted that. I wanted to utilize that as a buffer to him. And I put in, so I'm there, Stefan is there. I put in my infantry in a huge circle around the objective to push his infantry further away so that it couldn't threaten the objective early in the game. And it did. I forced his hand. He deployed his infantry in 2 blobs on each flank and a bit behind this wood there. And that was it. And first turn, first dies, he shoots a mortar, it lands on my infantry, and it kills half the guys in one of the Gurkha units. Oh, I already know this is going to be an uphill struggle, right? Because I am losing Gurkhas by turn 1, and by turn 2, 2 of my Gurkha units are down 50%, because I think, well, I'm going to have to pull in more infantry into the center. So I am pulling in Gurkha units in trucks. I am pushing up my armor into these forests on both sides, so that they can support the objectives, that they can sort of lay down crossfires, and hopefully, that is my thought at least, keep his infantry locked down in the corners, which they do. That works more or less. But I am quickly losing infantry in the center, which is a problem. Now, by turn 2, Stefan's reserves start to come on, and he deploys them very well. He pulls in his artillery into the center where it can see the objective. I, of course, start pinning it, so they don't really get that many shots off during the game. And then he pulls in his tanks and his armored cars into and towards the objective. Now I'm really pressured, especially because I start losing my own tanks to like long distance shots. He needs 5s. I'm in cover. He's moved. It's long distance. There they go. So I am down 2 tanks really quickly, which was horrible. One of them was actually to one of these infantrymen who like moves up, and they're inexperienced, and they're carrying a Panzerfaust, and they shoot it. They have moved. Boom! My tank goes away. He was rolling 6s and 5s. So I'm not losing the game because of 6s and 5s, but it does become more difficult for me. I'm still trying to block his access to the objective, and I end up using the desperate ploy of suicide trucks, running the trucks in and trying to block off what he is trying to do. So I try to run them up and sort of block his access. I don't quite manage to do that, but I get close. I get really close. In the end, Stefan manages to run some of his infantry all the way up here and contest the objective. But he doesn't manage to get my Gurkhas completely off the objective. So even though I'm losing all my tanks, all the stewards get murdered. I lose most. I think I lose 8 dice or something. I lose so much stuff. I lose my trucks. I lose my tanks. I lose one of the armored cars. I lose my artillery observer gets sniped by a mortar at one point on a 6 again. Oh man! So I'm losing so much stuff, and I'm still in the center. I still hold the objective. I can't push him off, but at least I get to, all his artillery gets pinned down by my artillery observer, and I get some shots into it, so they're pinned, so they don't really get to do anything. I think his pack fired like once. Did it kill something, Stefan? I can't remember if it was that killed one of my tanks. It may have done on a 5+ again. So I was in soft. No, it may have been a 4+. Anyways, it was very few shots coming out of that artillery base in the center, and many of the tanks gets pinned down, so they don't really get to be that effective against me. But again, that was a really hard-fought game. Stefan played very well. He played all his chances very well, and he rolled really well. And the table was against me. So I was really lucky to get a draw. I was glad that happened. And that meant that the tournament was over for me. Yeah. I was fortunate to have played against very good opponents all through that tournament. That was one of the things that I felt really lucky about. And I think I could learn a lot. I don't think I could have done much different tactically in this game. I think most of my decisions were the right ones. I even used like trucks as mobile cover for my tanks some of the time, but in the end I had to move them towards the objective to block off his access, which meant my final tank got exposed and got killed. But that was how it goes. I was willing to sacrifice all of my tanks as long as I could get that draw, and I did. So that's what some games are like. Cheers, bye.